Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, Sony announced the PlayStation Plus expansion type thing that they're doing, kind of like Xbox's Game Pass, and they revealed a lot of the lineup, but not all of it. And I really don't think it's that great. So, let's jump into it, shall we? So, Sony is basically doing three different tier lists of their new PlayStation Plus. And so, it's going to be Essential, Extra, and Deluxe. Essential is going to be basically what we've been paying for just with PlayStation Plus. Extra is going to have special things, and Deluxe is going to have like the retro titles that I think a lot of people probably want, but we'll kind of dive into why it's not that great at launch. So for all PlayStation Extra and Deluxe people that decide to upgrade, there's a lot of different games that are going to come out. So like we're going to see Bloodborne and Concrete Genie and Days Gone and Death Stranding, Demon Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Gravity Rush 2 and 1, Horizon Zero Dawn, Infamous First Light. So there's a lot of these here that I feel like a lot of us that have been with Sony, PlayStation specifically, for a really long time, that have had the PS4 since probably day one, we've probably all played these games. And so while I think the game catalog is good for like a first timer, I don't necessarily think it appeals to people that have been playing it since day one, especially because they've either given most of these out for free by now if you've been on PlayStation Plus, or you probably bought them at launch and have played through them already. So honestly, it's kind of like, I guess it kind of really depends on where you started with your PlayStation, right? Like where you started, because if you started like maybe like 2 weeks ago, this is probably a great idea. But honestly, it's kind of like, man, I already have these games, or I've played through them. I have platinums on a handful of these, like Spider-Man, like both of them, right? Like I played them at launch because I had the console and I was excited. But it's really interesting to like kind of see that they're trying to bring in people that probably didn't play when these games first came out. Like The Last of Us Remastered, okay, cool, you gave that away a few years back, and I played it on the PS3. Like, if you've been a Sony person for a long time, you've probably played a lot of these titles. Like, how many times can I play the first three Uncharted games again? But again, I guess it really does depend on, if like, did you play them all when they came out? Did you not? Like, what exactly are you hoping to really get out of this? So far it's not looking great for me. The third party, specifically, like, okay, cool, Red Dead's going to be here, Soul Calibur, like, we're going to get South Park and like these other titles. But again, a lot of these games, like Final Fantasy 15, like, I'm mostly certain that the people that really wanted to play it got it at launch. That was another title we had to wait forever for, and it finally came out, and I'm sure people bought it at launch, beat it, and they're probably not going to go revisit it again. And then like we see Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but that's with the UB Plus that you get when you are a part of these upper two tiers. So then there's also the classic game catalog, which is kind of, if we scroll down just a little bit, like it's not starting off too great. Like we have Ape Escape and Hotshot Golf and like Siphon Filter, that's cool. And like we see Jack 2 and 3 and X, which is the combat racing game, like, but again, these are on PS4. So like this is kind of like the retro, but it's also like I bought these when they were on discount for like $10, and I got all four of them. Like Dark Cloud 1 and 2, like I played these on the PS2. And then like you could get them in the PS3 and you can get them on the PS4. And so it's like, I guess this is in a lot of ways like what we were asking for, but at the same time, it just like kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like I want like rarer games that are a lot harder to acquire. And maybe I'm expecting too much. I don't know. And this right here is just so like, why? Like, I get that the PS3 hardware and software and all of that was just really, really hard to work on. But like the fact that you could only play PS3 games, even in these top tiers, like with streaming, so it's going to be PlayStation Now and Plus combined, which we kind of already knew. But like, that is just so unfortunate. Like, what if you don't have good Wi-Fi connection? What if, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just so many different variables. Like, okay, so cool, you can get Ico, you can get Infamous. Like, these games are fantastic games and you should definitely play them. But like, I have Ico on my shelf, I have Infamous on my shelf, and I can't just pop them in on my PS4, which is unfortunate, but it's also annoying that it's streaming. Like, why isn't there just an option to pop in your disc and get like a thing like what Xbox does with their program? Like, you put in KOTOR and like it just downloads the game, and I'm like, dude, why did y'all not just figure something out? You've had time. And so, like, again, it's kind of cool to see this, but at the same time, it's kind of like, guys, like, this is not great. And this is not great for, like, the asking price. And it's not great to really go beyond PlayStation Plus, the one I already have, which is going to become Essentials here soon. And the other two tiers are just, like, they're not that great. And so, like, with the Deluxe, right, you get, like, oh, look, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves. Like, okay, cool. Like, Uncharted again. Forbidden West. Okay, like, that's kind of neat, but at the same time, like, how many people just picked this up at launch? Maybe they didn't, maybe they did, I don't know. And then we get third parties like Cyberpunk, and like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So these are interesting, right? Like, but unless you're really, I don't know, like, unless you really didn't pick these up when they came out, or like, who's gonna play Farming Simulator 22? Like, really? I mean, obviously it's at 22, so they've probably made a handful, but like, or they've probably sold pretty well amount to get that game to keep going, but it's kind of like there's just really nothing here that's really getting my attention. And so, of course, the people that are already subscribed to PlayStation Plus, like I am, it's basically just going to be a PlayStation Plus Essential, which is going to come with the same stuff, with is like the monthly refresh with the first two Tuesday like free game, with new PS4, PS5 games added to the system, and with Extra and Deluxe, it's going to be a little bit more frequent, but we don't even know what games are coming. So like, it's hard to know like why to invest in this when we have no idea what's coming. Now, it is interesting because it is dropping on June 13th in North America, which is where I am. So here's everyone else's for anyone. Asia, May 24th, Japan, June 2nd, North South America, June 13th, and Europe, Australia, and New Zealand on June 23rd. So that, at least we have like a release date for that, but it's still kind of like, I don't know if it's really worth the cost. I think the coolest thing that they did do is that it says right here that players who previously purchased the digital version of these select games from the original PlayStation and PSP generations, you won't have to like sign up for this to re-download them. If you had like The Legend of Dragoon and it comes to the service, like you'll be able to just download it for free once it becomes available. So I think it's interesting. Like, hopefully we'll see that with like Suikoden and like some of these older JRPGs, which is why I wanted to get this in the first place and why I was kind of excited for it, because I want to play some of those retro titles that I played when I was a kid, but none of them are available right now. Like, and so I just don't see the reason to really do this and pay more for not really being able to play anything I haven't already played. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of cool that like you can get the digital versions once they become available, assuming that they become available, right? It's all an assumption. Like, who knows if you know, it's like, I wish that they would make the ones you get on PS3 that are digital be able to come the same way, and maybe they'll kind of surprise us with that later, but I don't really know. Like, right now, I just don't think it's great. Like, I think it's kind of bad. And so, yeah, that's kind of my hot take. I think that they're trying to compete with Game Pass in a lot of ways, and honestly, I hate streaming services and like digital gaming, so it's not really my cup of tea anyway. I'm more of a physical media guy, and I will die on that hill, but it might be your cup of tea. So anyway, let me know down in the comment section below, like, what are you thinking? I think it's kind of rough. I wish they would have just told us all the games that are coming so that we could plan better and think it through and to make that investment, right? But yeah, are there any games you're hoping make it on this list, or are there any of your favorite games already on this list? But anyway, let me know. And until next time, may your heart be your guiding key.